I don't know if you recall, in a previous episode I was looking for a location for a secondary building that I'm going to try to put up out here. And I contemplated this section right here, the boneyard with all the bones here, to set up a second building, but I've decided that maybe I will not put it here because I'm thinking of making the Freedom Trail go through here or through here. But there's another dry spot right over here, which looks like an ideal building spot. So we're going to try to build something here. Something a little bit more permanent than the yurt. Even though the yurt is holding its own, it held up pretty well in this really bad weather. But I think if we put another structure right here, I'm going to make it stronger. Maybe a real structure that someone could actually live in. Thinking of making a mud structure, but debating if I want to use discarded water bottles because they're all over the compound. I've seen where people just dump water bottles. Thinking of filling them with dirt or sand or something, and getting the mud while I still have access to mud because of the rainy season, and making either a mud structure or building a wooden hut. What do you guys think? I'm leaning more towards the mud, but then I'm not quite sure how the mud would hold up when it starts raining. Unless you put the tarp on top of the mud on the outside. Then the structure would actually be pretty strong, because mud has you know, some density. The other option is to try to build it with wood. I can scavenge wood and try to build an actual wooden hut. But wood's going to be hard to get. So that's why I'm leaning more towards building a structure out of mud. Let me know what you guys think, and maybe we'll get started on it. It looks like I'll need to cut some of these branches here out of the way and just secure this area. I might build a structure out of fronds again, believe it or not. But this time stronger, although there's not enough fronds. Unless I start cutting down fresh fronds, which I don't really want to do. I'm thinking, though, I will take some branches and stuff and maybe at least build the initial frame out of wood, and then maybe pack it with mud, you know, to make the walls solid. That's an option. What do you guys think? Alright, the rain has stopped. The yurt is right there. And I'm at the new spot. Trying to clear this area out. I've decided to trim back some of the brush and get rid of the vegetation here, because we're going to build our little hut right here at this spot. So, I'm still debating what to build it out of, but it's got to be built out of existing materials, which is going to have to be twigs and mud if I can get access to enough mud, which I do have access to right now, before everything dries up though. Otherwise, I won't even have the mud anymore. So, I'm leaning more towards a mud structure, mud and wood, and maybe some trash that I can gather from around the compound. Tin cans and plastic bottles or whatever to use as internals for the walls. That way I don't have to use as much mud. Although having the plastic on the wall may not be that strong unless you fill the plastic with dirt, but I don't think I have enough dirt. Unless I dig big holes or something, I don't know. You guys tell me what you think I should do for the walls of the new structure. I do want it to be stronger than the yurt, even though the yurt is holding up pretty well. But I suspect that as soon as the hurricanes hit, that yurt is going to be no more. I want to try to build a structure that hopefully can withstand a hurricane. But I don't know, even houses and stuff collapse in hurricanes around here. So, at any rate, the next structure we build should be quite a bit stronger than our yurt. Alright. It's been about an hour, maybe 45 minutes to an hour. I have cleared this area. This is going to be the site of a new structure. I think a hut. A real hut. The plan is to make a hut here that it's going to be a bit more solid than the yurt. Hopefully quite a bit more solid. And a hut that someone could actually live in. Or at least camp out in without worrying about collapsing when it rains. I'm going to make it, I think, a little bit bigger than the yurt. Almost the size of a living room. Pretty good sized living room. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it or not. The key will be getting enough materials. I could go back to fronds. This time maybe weaving the fronds to make the walls. And then put mud on it. I know I definitely want to try to use mud because I think mud will seal everything. But the question will be, how can I keep the mud from melting when the rain hits it? Could try to fire up bricks, but I don't know. That would mean making a fire, a kiln, I guess. And I don't know if I have enough time. Of course, we are at the beginning of the raining season, so maybe it'll keep raining, but then while it's raining, it's hard to fire up the bricks. So, you know, there's catch-22 here. But I do know we have the area cleared. Now it's just a matter of getting supplies. Alright, after analyzing the situation and looking at resources available, or not available, I think I'm going to build another yurt. The reason is I think the yurt is a really strong design. The circular design didn't blow down, and the winds have been like crazy here. Other than the weak roof, the structure held up. And you can see it's built from like flimsy little fronds that are like so brittle. Look how thin they are. And they're brittle, so they snap in half easily. And yet the structure has stayed intact for the most part, other than the roofing. And the weak part, which was the center that held everything up. So what I'm thinking is if I make a center pole, now I don't have a lot of wood, but I might be willing to splurge for a nice long piece of wood for the center, or I can put two little ones together. But what I'm thinking is if I get a center pole that is like strong, put it right here in the center, then I start constructing the sides using strong beams, at least like 6 or 8 strong beams for the sides, and even poking holes in the ground, digging holes to make the yurt so it stands up. I'm thinking that we could build a really strong yurt out here. I might even try weaving some of these fronds. The problem with these fronds is they're not like really like palm tree fronds, so they're like in a fan pattern. I'd probably have to cut them all out and weave them one by one, which is going to be very painfully slow. I'm going to have to do it while they're green, which means finding green ones to take. And I don't want to take it from this area because it's providing cover. And also sheltering from the rain. So that's an issue that still needs to be worked on. I've even contemplated possibly using the tiles as roofing. But tiles will get really heavy. So, you know, if it collapses, you'd be squished. So those are issues that I still need to work out, but I definitely am thinking, you know, considering how fast this yurt was actually put up, and it was built with just fronds and tape and zip ties, it's a pretty stable structure, considering how severe the rainstorms have been. And if I were to build a second one, knowing what I know now, I could probably build one that's a lot stronger and even bigger. This is slightly bigger, I think. Yeah, I think this is slightly, maybe about 10, 20, it's about 20 feet wide. Maybe 18 feet. Maybe an 18 to 20 feet yurt. So we could build a secondary yurt. A bird over here watching me. You can build a secondary yurt out here using better materials. I think we may still use fronds and stuff, but at least for the central support and some major support beams, I'm going to use real wood. And see if we can't make a structure the real structure that's not going to collapse.